Habs win against the San Jose Sharks in regulation, 4-3. Let's go! 5 losses in a row. We needed a win. We were playing the worst team in the NHL. I mentioned that so many times in the commentary. We needed that win. It was a must win, like they were saying, and absolutely was. Even if it doesn't mean we're back in the playoff race, it just we needed to break that streak, and this was the chance, right? We're playing again today. I'm recording this on the Wednesday, so we're playing today against the LA late again. I wasn't gonna record after 1 a.m. after 1:30 a.m. in the morning yesterday. I just wanted to go to bed. So, anyways, late game. Needed to win. We do. And that's all the excitement. Because that was not an easy win. And we didn't make it easy. Like, it's the worst team in the NHL. And we played a fairly tight game against them, which is not great to see. Like, a team like the Habs that had been playing really well, and you want them to go back to that a little bit, you kind of want them to just score 6, 8 on the San Jose Sharks when they're bad defensively, their goaltending has not been up to par, yada yada. We get the win, so that's good, but yeah, a lot of bad. So I've been liking naming my videos, my reaction / commentary videos, so it gives it a little bit of a theme, you know. So like I named the Winnipeg game the Top Dogs, and then after that I've heard so many times the Winnipeg Jets being called the Top Dogs, and I was like, yeah, I nailed that one. I don't know, I named the other one Frustrating with Minnesota, because it was really frustrating, and it was just like overall frustrating, right? So this one, for the San Jose game, I'm gonna name the Good and Bad, because there was some good, and there was a lot of bad too. So, getting started. Line shuffling, actually. Beck is back in the lineup. He was in California for the AHL All-Stars game. He played on Monday, the AHL All-Stars, and then plays Tuesday. His next NHL game. He scores 3 on the AHL, but if you see the replays, they're all just like gliding along. And actually, Craig Bottom had a good commentary on that. He said like, just a bunch of Kucherov effort level for the All-Stars. Yeah, if you know how much effort Kucherov puts in the All-Star, you know what he means. So yeah, they were all just gliding around, and it's good because Beck didn't waste a lot of his energy on the AHL game. He knew maybe he was playing on the next day in the NHL, and he was actually really good. So we had a few shuffling. Laine gets sent down to the 4th line. Which I don't know what the main reason is. It could be to send a message, right? He got benched pretty much all the 3rd period against Anaheim, and it might be to send a message like, hey, if you don't play with effort, if you're being stupid with the puck and like not defensively responsible, we're gonna punish you. We're gonna send you down, and like we're gonna have people with a lot of effort that have been playing with a lot of effort up there, right? So they put Anderson on the 2nd line, or the other option, the other reasoning behind Laine on the 4th line might be to ease him in onto improving his confidence on 5-on-5, right? He said it very clearly that his confidence is pretty low, that his body's feeling well, but his confidence is not right. And like, how long did we give Dak before like we wanted to crucify Dak? Not me personally, but a lot of the fans were calling for Dak's name so early onto the season, like a month, 2 months in, when he hadn't played for over a year and he hasn't played that much. It's a similar approach to how we need to take Laine not playing well. I think he has all the talent, and I think Marty can bring out the effort on him too. I really have high hopes for what Laine can bring to this team, so I'm really hoping, that they can figure out how to help him bring that in onto the team, right, and show what he can do, because he did not have a good game again, but he had a lot less responsibilities playing on a fourth line. Now, there's some pros and cons on that because if we do that, it means we're pretty much matching our fourth line with their fourth line, which, now that I say it out loud, we are on the road, so they are matching the lines. So when we put our fourth line, it doesn't matter who we have on the ice, they're going to put whoever they want, right? But before, when we were matching the lines, sometimes we would put our fourth line, which was very defensively responsible, against one of their top lines, because it was our shutdown line, and we will be able to match one of our most offensive lines against one of their worser lines to get more chances, right? So obviously now with Laine on the fourth line, it doesn't that line is not line. I've said that so many times. Anyways, Laine on that fourth line, it means the defensive side is a little bit less, but you have a really good shooting threat, which you used to have with Heineman, because he has a really good shot actually, but since he's been out, I think this gives Laine a little bit of a chance to get a little bit of his confidence back 5-on-5. And then we have back on the Dvorak Gallagher line, and I was actually pretty surprised at something I was seeing. So coming back from commercial breaks, sometimes it would be that line taking the face off, and it would be back there, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't because Dvorak got thrown out. So like Beck was taking some face-offs in priority to what Dvorak would do, right? So I wonder what it was, because Dvorak was still going out on the ice to take some face-offs for other lines, because he's our face-off guy, right? He's the better face-off guy that we have, and he gets a lot of responsibilities on the defensive face-offs. So he was still doing that a lot, but on his line, I think mostly on like neutral zone or offensive face-offs, it was Beck taking them, which I find interesting, because to me, Beck is the Dvorak replacement. He's the face-off guy, he's defensively responsible, and he has a lot more offense and dog on him than Dvorak has, honestly. Although Dvorak had a good game until some point, until the goal. But it was cool to see, and I don't know if Marty is like having Dvorak tutor Beck a little bit into that role, and like giving him advice, like during the game. I don't know. I really like how Beck played. I'm gonna get into that point now. I had it for later, but since I mentioned him, he played with a lot more confidence than he had played previously. So he was called back a few weeks ago, I think, for I forget which game. But you could see he was playing the fourth line, and he was like trying to do that fourth line role, but it wasn't fitting him much, and I don't know, he was getting the puck, removing the puck out of his stick pretty fast, so you can see his confidence was just not there. And he's been really good for Laval. I do not personally watch the Laval games, but I do read some of the reviews, and Beck always or usually comes up as like one of the highlights of Laval, right? So it's been pretty good to see from him, and he did show up this game with a lot of confidence, hit a post, had a few really good passes, didn't get a point, but he was a dog on the forecheck, just hitting. He had a play where he hits two guys onto the boards, like a back hit, and then like completely just chops another guy out of the puck and gives Gali a pass, which creates a very good offensive chance. So really good to see from Beck. Obviously, he hasn't had the training and the synergy with the rest of the team, so you could see a little bit of that on the second San Jose goal, where Savard pinches up and nobody covers for him. I know it was Dvorak's responsibility, so Dvorak needed to realize that our defenseman pushed up and he needed to back down. Instead, San Jose gets a 2-on-1, and it was the first goal in the NHL for Graf. Always nice to see, even if it's against from other teams. Really good shot. But yeah, that line gets scored on, sadly. I don't think Beck could have done much, but it was Savard, Gali, and Beck all on the puck, so I think Beck could have played that a little bit more smartly, anyways, unfortunate, but I think other than that, Beck had actually a really good game. So I'm hopeful for what I saw. Hopeful that he can be our third line, being in our third line in the next season. So in the next season, we should have Demidov come and hopefully join that second line with hopefully Dak and Line playing confidently and with more training, right? So you move Newhook down, and then you can have either Newhook, Gallagher, Anderson, or Beck, Gallagher, Anderson, and then you have Newhook with either off Armia, Evans, and Heineman, right? And you also get some depth. So that it's good to have the options. And speaking of Evans and Armia, they get another shorthanded goal, which is amazing to see. Like in Anaheim, they get a shorthanded, and here they get a shorthanded. And like both really good plays from both guys. You know, Evans being just annoying to play against in the PK. I mean, the power play for San Jose. He just has a really good stick and really good reads. He positioned himself really well out there and gets a nice pass to Armia, who buries it. Both guys need a contract. And I think we are at least keeping one of them, although they did toss the idea around of having them be a package to a contender. Because right now, let's be honest, the odds of the Habs making the playoffs are still there if they go on a heater and defeat everyone, right? But they're a lot lower than they were 2 weeks ago. Sadly, we went on a 5-game losing streak, and like the East does not forgive. We're now 6 points, 5 points away from the wild card spot, which is going to be really hard unless the other teams, if the other teams allow us to get that to that point, I mean, sure, but they're all wanting to get into the playoffs, right? So it's going to be rough. And if we are sellers, you could offer Armia and Evans together because you're just giving a contender a really good PK, right? A really good fourth line. And I wonder what they could get out of that. I think it was Basu that mentioned it, and like I hadn't thought about it. It could be something good, but it would be really hard to part with those guys. They've been so good on the fourth line. They've been so good on the PK, and it would leave us in a pretty bad spot for the fourth line and for the PK. It would set back the rebuild a few years. You know, like I know you can get those guys on trades, like get fourth liners, get PK guys on trades. They're not as difficult to get as a first line guy, or you know, like a steady right-handed defenseman or whatever. But yeah, at some point you need to not just keep going for draft picks and go for people and for players. Or I don't know. Ken Hughes knows a lot more than I do, but difficult decision, difficult situation for him. What do you do at the trade deadline? Anyways, moving on. Otherwise, this video is gonna be way too long. I mentioned the line blender. I'll mention Beck. He was taking some face-offs. And how good of a game he had. The second line, actually. The second line, now that was Anderson instead of Laine, I think they were playing less smartly, more just faster. So Dak was moving his legs a lot more. He has both Anderson and Newhook, which are like our fastest guys out there. So he had to move his legs to keep up, and I think he actually helped a lot. They create the penalty that ends up being the Caulfield power play goal, and then they get a good 5-on-5 goal, the only 5-on-5 goal we've had the last 2 games, right? And it was a really good effort from that second line. I really like what I saw. By the way, whatever. I was gonna mention the Caulfield goal, but I'll get there. I'll get there eventually. I thought Dak had a good game, and I really like the effort and speed that I've been seeing from Newhook. And also he's been improving his shot. Like last season or at the start of this season, you didn't see Newhook shoot from the slot so much. He would try usually to get closer and get the puck in that way, but he's been finding that spot on the slot where he's been sniping, and he hits a post from there, and he had a really good chance that was saved by Georgiev. So it'd be great if he can keep on improving that and become a shooting threat too, because the more shooting threats you have, the more difficult it is for their defense to cover all the spaces, right? So yeah, really good to see from Newhook. He has been really good lately. Like, I don't know, the last 7 games or something, he's been noticeable. I think against Anaheim he was a little more invisible, but good to see that he's back there, being fast, being good effort. He had one defensive play against Celebrini where he's just checking his stick all the time, lifting it, pushing him, making it really difficult for Celebrini to do anything. Speaking of Celebrini, you have to admit, he's really good. He probably has the edge now in the Calder race. I know Hudson doesn't really care, but as fans, we care. We care a little bit at least, right? It would be nice if Hudson can get the Calder, but Celebrini is just making it really hard. And I know Hudson still has the edge on points, I think by 1 now, because Celebrini got 2 and Hudson got just 1. Yeah, Celebrini is pretty damn good. He had a beautiful goal. It was beautiful more like the play than the goal itself, but it was a really good shot. They just crossed the middle of the ice so many times. You could see Monty on the replay. He's just going left, right, and it's a little too late to get to Celebrini's shot, who puts it on the opposite side too. So it was a beautiful goal. Not all you can do there. Yeah, our PK needs to maybe a little bit more aggressive there, but I don't know. Good play on San Jose. He gets a nice assist after he reads Toffoli is going to beat Savard to the puck. That's on us. I'm talking about Celebrini still. He's very good defensively and in the neutral zone. He won some key faceoffs against some of our better faceoff guys. Celebrini. So he's good defensively, wins some of the key faceoffs, and he's actually out there for the PK of San Jose as well. Which, yeah, a lot of responsibilities for an 18-year-old that just started in the NHL, right? So hats off to him, Gotta admit when another player is just really good. I thought Dvorak had a good game until the San Jose goal that I mentioned where he didn't cover. After that, it's just and he's just so bad offensively. He gets himself into really good chances and just cannot finish. He does like a backhander, just goes a mile out. Frustrating that he creates chances. He's good defensively, but just he was there for the power play goal that Galley got. If it wasn't Galley, it was gonna be Dvorak, Like I said, he gets there, but who knows? Maybe Dvorak would have put it out because that's what he does. Anyways, I really hope he teaches and tutors Beck on his defensive side, and then Beck chooses someone else to get a good example of some offensive side. Yay. All right. We played horrible defensively. We don't win this game against a better team, excuse me. So I was saying the good and the bad, right? The good is we win the game. The good is second line playing well, blah blah blah. The bad, our defense, our whole, not just our defense, man, our defense as a whole team sucks. We were allowing the San Jose Sharks, which are not a good offensive team, to get so many dangerous chances. Montembeault had to really work hard out there to get us that win. Actually, the goal that Newhook scores, it's a 5-on-5, comes from a massive Montembeault save. We rush it the other way and get a good position and whatnot. But Montembeault had to be really sharp. What the hell? We were so good defensively, and now we're just a complete mess. And it cannot be just Gooley getting injured. I know that's a big factor, but it cannot just be that, right? Right? I don't know. Bad. So many chances, so many crease shots or slot shots that we were allowing. We were throwing the puck around our crease so many times too for some reason. I was pulling my hair out. I was just what's going on? I think Hudson had one that just crosses in front or behind Montembeault or something like that. like that can just bounce in from our own goalie because they're not expecting it. Like it wasn't just Hudson, like someone else did it too. Like it was just very careless play near our goal. And then we just, I don't know, we were allowing them to have a chance at the game. Like Marty said late in November when we were like in that struggle on that 6 games losing streak, and he didn't have any answers and the team was fully down, which I'm very glad, by the way, they went on that heater, because that would have been bad if they continued on that bad streak. Anyways, like he said back then, we were not doing ourselves any favors. We were like puking on our own shoes. It was something like that he said. Something horrible, but like I agree. Like we are giving the other team chances to play a good game. We're not making it difficult for them. We're giving them chances. Monty had to save more than 30 shots. Like, yeah, we do not win that game against a better team. Like, we don't score that shorty probably. We probably get scored on the last when they had the goalie pulled, because yeah, we're not good defensively, and like we had 3 chances of icing that game. Gallagher misses a shot that you expect most of the NHLers to make from the neutral zone. Sure, you're shooting from afar, but like you see that going all the time. So I was like, come on, man. Then Suzuki gets a really good chance, and like he just has a defenseman on the goal, and he shoots it right at him. You also expect NHLers to get that in, you know? It's just a defenseman, or you know, like you have 5 or 4 more other guys on the ice, so you can, I don't know, keep it in their zone at least for a little longer, and get maybe a better chance. Frustrating to see at the end. And then Evans, the last 30 seconds or something, tries a backhand pass to Armia that gets blocked, and then San Jose gets a few more chances. We were giving them chances. That when they pulled the goalie, it just showed how bad we were playing overall. We were lucky to end up with a win. I'm not happy with how we play. I am, like, if we play exactly the same game we played against San Jose today against LA, we're fucked. We're just royally going to lose. You know what I was going to say there. Anyways, we're absolutely going to get destroyed by LA if we play like we played against San Jose. You want to see better. Obviously, you know, good, you get the win, right? In regulation, cool. Bad, you want to see more improvement than that. Good, Slav played well. But he keeps trying that freaking cross-ice pass that only works half the time, and the other half the time you're giving the puck to the other guys, and all of our forwards are in their zone because they're rushing, and like the puck is behind them, and then their defense gets it to their forwards, and it's just really risky. Good. Our special teams, we score a shorty, we score 2 power play goals. Out of their last, 6 goals we've scored in the last 2 games, 5 have been from special units, 2 short-handed, 3 power play goals, and then just 1 5-on-5 goal. So like, woo, right? Except no, the bad. Our power play 1 is struggling. We cannot put the puck in their zone. Like, our zone entries are just horrible again for some reason. We're just not being responsible enough with the puck, or I don't know what's going on. Good. The first power play we had, actually, it was really nice to see Caulfield in the bumper spot. It reminds me a lot of the Tampa Bay amazing power play they have with Point in the bumper slot, and he just buries every single one, right? He is just getting there, so he's fanning on some of the shots, whiffing here and there, but like he gets a really good one in, right? So that's a good, but bad. We had a 4-minute power play that at the end of the second, at the beginning of the third. So like our first unit got a lot of chances to get something done, and it was just horrible. You couldn't get anything done. And kudos to the second unit that I've spoken so bad of so many times, because like, I'm saying, like, I usually say, like, whenever they're on the ice, I know we're not going to score, or no, we're probably not going to score, but we actually do score. Like Dak with a really good play, he sells the shot and then goes past, and Gallagher buries it. So like, the good is our second power play unit is actually showing up when our first one is slacking. You can see the flashes of how great our power play can be when they're in their game. You can also see how bad it can be when we're not. Good, Monty, right? And a few clutch saves. Bad, long ass video review for that when San Jose puts like shoves Monty's pad in the goal, and then like they call no goal immediately. So they call on the ice is no goal, and then they're reviewing it to see if it actually crossed the line before they pushed the pad. And sure, it's close, but they show one camera angle that showed it was clearly not crossing fully, or it was just not there. You couldn't see it crossing fully. And it's been an issue with the NHL, especially on these reviews that are even not coaches' challenges. They need to have a maximum amount of time. They need to do something. It was 6 minutes. 6 minutes of us just watching, because you don't even know how long it's going to take. So you can't even go pee or something, because it might be back immediately, you know, and you're going to miss some of the game. You can't do anything, and the players are just there sitting, not doing anything either. So 6 minutes is just way too long. It has to be 1-2 minutes at most. I don't know, they need to come up to a number that makes sense. But like, they review it, like, if you cannot overturn the call on the ice with sufficient evidence in 1 or 2 minutes, then what the hell are you doing? Like, why 6 minutes? Right? If it's that obvious that it crossed the line, then in a minute or two you should be able to see. If in that time you're not able to find evidence, then like, the call on the ice stands, right? And yeah, that can favor or hurt the Habs. So I don't care. I care about watching a game. I care about going to bed at 1:30 a.m. because the game just took so much longer. It was 6 minutes extra. They need to figure something out there. It's just ridiculous that it can take so long. We all see it didn't fully go through the line, and I don't know what they were checking. And I know they're trying to get more camera angles, but like, if all the camera angles you have in a minute don't show it clearly crossing the line, then move on. Jeez. We actually hit so many posts. It was crazy. I think we hit 5. I forget who the 5th was, but I got Beck hit 1, Suzuki hit 1, Newhook hit 1, Armia hit 1. It could have been a very different score. So you gotta give it. Our offense was a little bit better. Okay, I take that back. The good. Actually, it wasn't so much better. It's more like San Jose is not good defensively, right? We were not able to exploit that too much. They mentioned how we were not putting a lot of traffic on net, and that's true. Like, we never really got offensive time or kept the cycle up in their O zone, which is obviously what you need to have a forward go to the net. Like, we were not playing well in their zone either. Like the Newhook goal with Slav and Dak on front of Georgiev, like, that was great to see, right? But I think it was the only time, or one of the only times, so we actually had that happen. I don't know. It was just like, I don't know, shooting from the slot, and yeah, a lot of goalies are gonna save that. You know, Georgiev has been, I think, the worst goalie in the NHL. They said. And he still was saving most of those. So imagine what, like, you're never gonna score on Hellebuck like that. Eh? Like, we scored 1 against him. We couldn't score against Fleury. Against good goalies, we're never gonna score like that. So a little bit of bad there. I did like what Marty was doing with the defensive pairings. He was sometimes shuffling them for defensive zone. So I think instead of being Hudson and Matheson when we were in our defensive zone, it was Hudson and Carrier. And then as soon as we got out, Carrier would switch with Matheson. Just splitting a little bit of that responsibility in the defense zone. I don't mind that, honestly. Like, whatever works, right? I already said what the fuck were the last 3 minutes with their net empty. Also just so upsetting to see. And I saw this many times where when we were in their O zone and we had a little bit of back possession, usually it's our forwards on the boards, and then they go, if they don't have an option to throw it into the middle of the ice or back behind the net, they usually go for the defense, right? And the defense has the puck, and usually they pinch it, they push up. When that happens, and when that happened in the 2 months we were playing really well, our forward would cover for the defense and would cover that spot. I saw yesterday, and thankfully it didn't hurt us, but a lot of the times the forward would rush up with the defense, leaving at least one, if not both sides of the blue line completely uncovered. I'm like, if you shoot it, or you get a bad bounce, or they get a good stick and the puck is going the other way, you have nobody back. I saw it at least 2 times that happened. I think one time it happened with 1D, and the other time happened with 2D, where there was nobody back at the blue line because the forwards were all just like, yay, we're going. And like, they were not saying like, oh, our defense pinch, I need to cover, I need to be responsible. Like I said, that could have been so much worse against a better team. The last thing I wanted to mention was Craig Button. He makes me roll my eyes so many times. Craig Button is the color commentator for TSN, by the way. And like, the guy knows a lot about hockey. Obviously knows a lot more than me, and obviously knows a lot more than a lot of Habs fans, right? But just he provides very insightful comments. It's just his delivery. It's horrible. I hate it. Because he does exactly what I'm doing, but for all the people in the stream. Like, he's just so upset on his delivery. Like, he's like, oh, that should have been a penalty. What the hell is going on? Let's call, blah, blah, blah. And like, the other commentators just ignores him. It's like, so, continuing on the play, and continues the call. But like, I don't know. He sounds so mad all the time whenever something happens that he doesn't like. He called out Slav so many times. He was like, oh, he's playing like softy and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude. He just seems like such a homer, honestly. Like, I don't know. I just wanted to complain about that. He really just sounds like an old man yelling at clouds, just like I do right now. But you know what I mean. Like, it's not what you want to hear when you're watching a game, especially like when it's already maybe a frustrating game, and like your team is struggling or it's not being great. And you start hearing this guy that is upset, and it just makes you more upset. It's not what you want. It's not what I want. I don't want to be upset watching the Habs. If I'm already upset watching the Habs because of how they're playing, I don't want the commentator to make me more upset. Alright, anyways. Okay, LA, tonight. 10:30 again. Oof, I'm gonna be so sleepy tomorrow. Anyways, I hope to watch it live. I hope to make the video tomorrow. I'm not gonna be making it at 1 a.m. And I hope the Habs in the second half of a back-to-back use the momentum from the win. Doesn't matter. They don't ask how. They ask how many, right? So we'll forget how we got this win, how close it was against a really bad team. Doesn't matter. You got the win. Get the momentum. Get the positives. Work on the negatives. Keep the good, work on the bad. Against LA, go Habs go.